We are on a journey through Americana. I'm Hardeep. I'm the editor of Byline Times, and I am joining the brilliant Chicago-born playwright, novelist, and cultural critic Bonnie Greer as she takes us all through the key myths and symbology of the United States.
Hardeep, this is great to be doing this with you and going on this journey. I have a bit of a synesthete brain, which means I see pictures when I hear words. And when you said that, I suddenly saw this long kind of gallery. And you know, these paintings, they're here in the Royal Academy and National Gallery in London. They're made in about the 1890s, the 1880s, these sort of still portraits and these open landscape things. Those are kind of ideas of the myth of America. And so, in a sense, Americana is a journey as if we're looking at all of these paintings and we're just walking right into them and dissecting the whole thing. That's what the journey is for me. It's just sort of like breaking through these portraits, breaking through this cinema and saying, like, what's really going on here?
And really, the symbols are just as key to understanding the reality of America today. I mean, Trump has had one presidency. It's still on the precipice. Why is it that we need to understand these symbols that you're going to be taking us through if we want to understand the reality of America today?
Well, just on a power level, you know, America's the most powerful nation in the world. So wherever it goes, however it turns, whoever it's for, whoever it's against, that's massive. In fact, that is the thing itself. We need to understand how America, or something about the way America ticks, because it is, you know, the big dog in the room. So that's the first thing. And I think secondly, because America and every American is so full of myth that, in fact, sometimes there are myths talking to other myths. And we Americans actually function through that. I always say every American has a film in her head starring her, and she triumphs. And that's what you're sort of raised, even if it's not said to you, to be. You're going to win. You're going to win the day. Americans always believe in being winners, always are winners.
And also this notion of a country being built on an idea. I mean, it's captivating.
Ancient Rome tried to do that. Maybe even it's being tried here. Maybe the Conservative Party tries to do that. But no country has been founded on an idea. And the idea is all men are created equal. Now, when you break that down, you have to sort of analyze who were the men. It was only men. What were they equal to each other or to other people? Were there other people, humans, who were not in this category? This is seldom opened up and discussed in America, yet it's very much a part of who we are.
And why I've always been fascinated by America, because as you say, it has these ideals and they're so there. And often I think about Britain, you know, the country I've grown up in, and we don't have a written constitution. We don't have this notion of this is what we are, this is what we can be as people. In some ways, I think I quite like that because it brings a lot of flexibility and ambiguity that I quite like, a sense of freedom that we don't have these very almost rigid ideals. But on the other hand, the fact that a country like America has these ideals, I guess I've always been interested in exploring the gap between the myths and the ideals and the reality, which is what we are going to be doing on this journey.
I'm going to be taking this journey with you, too, because I'm trying to figure it out. This is a massive year, maybe the biggest since the Civil War. I mean, I wasn't around then, but this is what I read. Nevertheless, you look at what's going on in the United States, and I'm looking at it as an American abroad, and I'm seeing this disintegration. Now, it's really scary to look at, not only because it is disintegrating, but you're brought up as an American to believe that America is invincible. Even after 9/11, still you were brought up with that idea. And now it doesn't look so solid.
Bonnie, shall we set off?
Let's do this thing.
Hello and welcome to the show.
I'm Hardeep. I'm the editor of Byline Times.
I will be joined by some remarkable guests.
Where are we, Bonnie, today?
This is called the Capitol, and it is the region section in Washington where all the laws are made. The Senate and the House of Representatives are here, and this is where the laws are made. And on this day, the Vice President of the United States is presiding over the count from the states. You see, the states elect the President of the United States. The Vice President is presiding as a ritual for the counting. He or she has no say in what the states do. It's a ritual. And we're here while this is going on, and over there screaming and hollering is the President of the United States, urging his followers to march on this activity.
Now it is up to Congress to confront this egregious assault on our democracy. And after this, we're going to walk down, and I'll be there with you. We're going to walk down. We're going to walk down anyone you want, but I think right here, we're going to walk down to the Capitol. And we're going to cheer on our brave senators and congressmen and women. And we're probably not going to be cheering so much for some of them, because you'll never take back our country with weakness. You have to show strength, and you have to be strong.
So this would be January the 6th, 2021.
When the President of the United States said the day or two before, be there because it would be wild. And just before that, one of his, I think it was the former mayor of New York, at one time called America's mayor because he was the mayor of the day of 9/11, Rudy Giuliani, is just finished standing up there screaming, "Let's have trial by combat." And outside are hordes of people with all kinds of signs, some of them mystical from another planet. There's a couple of guys who call themselves QAnon shamans. There are guns. There are upside-down flags. All of the madness that lies at the heart of the United States of America, because we have to remember there are people who believe that the United States of America resides within themselves. There is no entity beyond themselves. And so this is the clash. The President of the United States is saying that America lies in you. And the House of Representatives, where the count is taking place with the Vice President, says it resides in this body of laws that we call the Constitution. And that's the battle.
I can also hear them chanting that the election was stolen. This is the election that was won by President Joe Biden.
Well, you know, every American says, part of being an American is that you think the election was stolen. Actually, because it is this sort of personal connection. What's never happened in my lifetime and the lifetime of most Americans is a whole bunch of folks have not come together to take it back to themselves. That's what MAGA is about. Make America Great Again. That's Trump's slogan. So they're all here as representatives of whatever that is, this thing called MAGA. And, let's understand, this isn't like one group of people. This is a whole bunch of different folks. There are people who, believe it or not, actually believe that Trump uses the term final battle. That is a white evangelical Christian term, which is a bell ringer for them to tell them they have to come out, because if they don't have this battle, there'll be no Armageddon, and therefore Jesus isn't coming back.
For the Lord himself will descend from heaven with a cry of command.
So that group of people is there. And then there are other groups who what you call the libertarian crowd who don't believe that the United States is legitimate anyway. And then there's another group of people who are the white supremacists who think that actually the country's being taken over by the likes of you and me, and so they're there.
You people need to get off your ass and wake up. This is America. White power!
Then there's the other group of people who are just here for the party. Then there's the other group of people who are the gun law, Second Amendment people who believe that they have the right to bear arms. They're going to demonstrate that by bearing arms. And nobody's going to take this gun out of my cold, dead hands, as Charles Heston used to say. So they're all together. And like I said, there are also people there for the party because Trump did say it will be wild. So they're going to come down and see what's going on. USA! This is the thing that's incredible about this, and this isn't mentioned a lot. There are people in this crowd right now who are carrying what's known as the Confederate battle flag. That people died so that flag would not enter the Capitol. It's about to do it now.
Images of pro-Trump rioters storming the Capitol last week showed some carrying Confederate flags. During the Civil War, the flag was the official symbol of the Confederate States, but more than a century and a half later, it represents rebellion and, for many, racism.
I mean, it's tempting, isn't it, Bonnie, to say that Make America Great Again, the MAGA movement, came in with the rise of Donald Trump in American politics. But, I mean, that stream of thinking within the U.S. has always been there. I mean, he merely tapped into something that was ripe for exploitation.
See, that's the point. You hit it on the head. Donald Trump is the useful idiot of a couple of forces that have always been there. There are people who don't believe in the federal government. I'm going to put a pin on the end of that. Full stop. They don't believe in it. They not only don't believe in it, they fight against the federal government. They either do it literally or they do it online or whatever. So they think the federal government is an invader. All right, you got them people. Then you got another core of people who believe that somehow, some way, some kind of way, some Peruvian space people came down and actually tampered with the election boxes. They believe that stuff. They live on that stuff. They live on conspiracy theory, okay? So you got that core of people.
There's the QAnon
Yes,
movement.
but in QAnon is a whole bunch of people
It's a catch-all.
who are about a lot of different things. It's a community of people who just believe that, no, that's not the real story. Whatever story you're going to be told, that's not the official version, okay? That's the official version. This is the real deal.
And again, that stream's always been there.
Always been
underlying.
in America. Always, 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 okay? The next stream that's always been there are people who believe that somehow, some kind of way, the president is in the hands of others. You know, not us, the American people, others. Now, you may ask them, what are the others? It's others, okay? So Trump represents and allows himself to be represented. And the other thing that Trump represents for a lot of Americans is the winner cycle. See, you can't be an American unless you're a winner. If you're not a winner in your job, in your bedroom, in the bar, whatever, you're not supposed to actually be breathing. There are no losers in America, okay? So Trump represents the winner. So you got all of these forces together, and they are all together in this crowd. And that's what's coming on the Capitol.
And freedom stands tall over one more monument. This one, this Capitol, this living monument. This is the monument to the American people.
Just to pick up on this point about Donald Trump in particular being a winner. I mean, a few months ago, I was in New York and struck by the number of people who were saying, we don't like him personally, but he knows how to get things done. He's a businessman. That had enough resonance with a certain number of people. And I'm really interested by the notion of how has the American dream been distorted in the American mind in the years that have gone by. So if you look at Sarah Churchwell, for example, the academic, has written
She's
about
a friend
this.
Of mine. Yeah. No, Sarah.
And she's
and Chicagoan too.
Yeah, she wrote a whole book about the original conception of the American dream when that terminology started to appear in popular use. And it was the American dream was about social democracy, and the whole point of it was when you get deep levels of inequality in society, that's a direct threat to social democracy. That this meaning of the American dream is to get rich and to be like Donald Trump, that is a distortion of the original sense of that concept, which was actually about equality, which will guard against tyranny.
But it wasn't. See, Hardy, this is the thing. It wasn't. See, and that's what is hard to come to
everyone
grips
wasn't
with.
equal.
No,
yeah.
exactly. And not only wasn't everyone equal, everybody wasn't human being either.
Yeah.
See, that's the other bit of this. My people were considered 3/4 of human being, and indigenous people were nothing. Okay, women weren't even full human beings. Women couldn't even vote. So all of this has started to hit the fan with Donald Trump, who's just actually gathered together all of these forces that have been bubbling since the 50s, bubbling since the 60s, all of this. He brings it together because the guy's a shill. That's a carnival barker who stands outside of a tent with a horn and tells everybody, yeah, come on inside, see this act. In fact, Hardeep, there is on YouTube an excerpt from a show called Track Down. Okay, I used to see when I was a real little kid about this bounty hunter who would go through the West looking for, bad guys to take them into the sheriff and get the bounty. One episode that was called The End of the World. There's this guy rolling into town in this one-horse dusty town in the West, he's in a covered wagon. And these people just mind their own business. And this covered wagon comes in and he says, I can build a wall for you. I'm the only one who can save you. It's me. Listen to me. They're coming for you, blah, blah, blah. So there's another scene in this thing where the bounty hunter is sitting in the saloon. And he says to the guy, what's this guy called? I'm supposed to be bringing him in. The guy leans in and says he's called Trump. Okay, so Trump represents and is an embodiment of the con man that Americans are always susceptible to. We're always interested and ready for the person who can sell us paradise, okay? And Trump represents this modern notion of paradise. Although Trump has lost money on casinos, and like somebody who told me who's a bettor, you gotta be really stupid to lose money on a casino because casinos are built to make money. So, but nobody takes that all on board. We don't want to take it on board because Trump presents the American dream.
I mean, is it in this the MAGA movement? But I mean, do you think you've obviously described the different groups that come together? Is it pivotal, Donald Trump's personality in particular? Or do you think they have feelings and grievances and ideas within themselves about America, about their place in it, about how the country should be that he is merely exploiting? Or is it the mix of both of them?
See, I don't even think it's that high, Hardeep. The thing is, Trump is a salesman, okay? Trump sells water. Okay, that he probably gets from the tap. No, it's true. It's called Trump water. He did sell water.
Right.
So Trump knows, and it's very interesting to watch him. He knows what people want, just like a real salesman. He knows.
All Americans need a Bible in their home, and I have many. It's my favorite book. It's a lot of people's favorite book. I'm proud to endorse and encourage you to get this Bible. We must make America pray again.
And I think it's partly because he comes from a borough of New York, which is as mighty as Manhattan, but Manhattan is Manhattan, and that's Queens. He's always wanted to make it. So Trump has always wanted to be big in New York. He's tried to buy New York. He's tried to buy his way into New York. And that is a real feeling in Americans. I'm not there yet. It's like the Wizard of Oz is at the end of the road. I got to get there. So Trump is the wizard. And Americans are going to follow him down the yellow brick road, and they are following him down the yellow brick road. If you watch Trump, listen to Trump, Trump shifts his message all the time. It's always, okay, this is a card. I'm going to adjust my message to this. I'm going to adjust it to that. I'm going to do that. Even with the trial that he was on, he came out and he did his shtick. But we don't listen to that as Americans because we're on this road to our transcendence. And that transcendence is Americana. It's never, ever achieved. It just is this thing that we're heading for all the time. Dancing, singing, being a tin man, being a straw man, being a witch, whatever. We got to get to that place.
Well, I really like that analysis, Bonnie, because as much as you say it's kind of simple, he's just a salesman selling water to people. I like it because there's something deep that it says about the people themselves. And, you know, I remember when, we were both here in London in 2016 when we had the EU referendum. Obviously, the majority voted for Brexit. And almost immediately there were all this analysis and commentary about how can these people be so stupid? And that is too simplistic.
But see, the reason is, Hardeep, the British have no ideals. See, the British, you don't have a constitution. It's like, and I'm saying this in a complimentary way. I mean, the French do, liberté, égalité, fraternity, and then they sort of like wedge in whatever that describes that. The British have nothing like that. So the British are in the world. The English are in the world. And there are ideas of being an English person or ideas of being a British person. It's not written in stone like it is in the United States. In the United States, when you become a citizen of the United States, you take a pledge to ideals. When I was a little kid, and growing up in the 60s and the 50s, you stood up in the classroom every morning, put your hand on your heart.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic.
You know, all of this every day.
But what's interesting is if you weren't in front of me now and it was a MAGA supporter, I'm sure they'd be telling me, I really love the principles of America and the ideals of America. If they were sitting next to you now, both of you would be saying, I believe in the ideals of America. So what's the difference?
Hardeep, the difference is we have an argument about what the ideals are.
That's the
okay.
point.
And that's what America is, okay?
Right.
So, you know, this guy's going to put on his AK-47 on the table and say, that's America, okay? I'm going to say, no, it's not, man. You're not supposed to be walking around like this. Yes, I am. I have a right to defend myself. We'd be here all day.
But that plurality of the country by its very nature means that there are contested ideas of what it is.
It's not plural because plural implies some kind of base, which what the plurality emerges from. There is none. And that is the mythos of the United States.
So regardless of Donald Trump, is MAGA here to stay, Bonnie?
MAGA always was here. Donald Trump is going to be swept away. MAGA is not going anywhere because it is rooted in this individual concept of America. There are people walking around who think that America's going to hell. They were born thinking like that. They will never change. So what you do have to have is just a leader, just a person who says that that's true. You know, it's interesting about Donald Trump, again, it has to do with the age that we're in, the internet, online, social media, TV, reality TV. He's like the nightmare monster of all of these things brought together. And here it is in the flesh and in the blood. And people are just, attaching themselves to it like gnats to a pile of something or other. MAGA will sweep away Donald Trump when Donald Trump if he doesn't win this election, he's done. And they're going to look for somebody else, maybe RFK Jr., who knows.
Bonnie, this day saw a lot of violence, which ran through the heart of America. This day, will it change America?
Well, first of all, we better get out of here because we just saw somebody swinging through the doors of a window and they got shot. Okay, so we need to go. Will this day change America? That's a good question. I'm going to say no because the people who are here have this in their heart. So whatever happens, and I'm sure there will be investigations and so forth because there will be a demand for that, that's not going to stop them. It's there. They were just waiting for somebody to light the fire. And when that person can't light that fire anymore, they're done, and they'll move on to the next person.
Mysticism and violence at the heart of what America is. That's what we hope people traveling with us on this journey in this episode will take away from it. And we're coming to the end of that journey. But Bonnie, I think even though it's an awful day at the Capitol, we're going to pick a souvenir to take back. What's it to be?
I'm going to take a souvenir of the picture that we just took of this African-American policeman. He's standing there, and he's going to defend this Capitol until his last breath. And that's what I'll take with me.
Bonnie, we've only just started our journey. Where else do you think we need to stop by?
Well, I think we need to drive up to New York City just for a couple of days, but we got to see Trump Tower because that's the story in and of itself. Trump Tower, we got to see the Staten Island Ferry because that's part of what Americana is, and MAGA. We got to look at the Statue of Liberty. All of these things are part of the mythos of MAGA.
Well, let's hope those listening tick all of those off when they visit New York City. Thank you for joining us on our travels through Americana with me, Hardeep Matharu.
And me, Bonnie Greer.
To hear more about our journey through Americana, subscribe to bylineaudio.com and join us in the diner. This is Travels Through Americana.